A very good afternoon and welcome along to the Emirates Stadium for Barclays Women's Super League Match Day 3 action. Arsenal against Everton. I'm your commentator, Michael McCann, and wherever you are across the world for this one, it is fantastic to have your company. The Gunners with 4 points to show from their opening 2 games of the new league campaign. One of 6 teams yet to lose coming into this weekend, up against Everton, one of 2 teams alongside newly promoted Crystal Palace, who are still yet to get their first point, but at the very least did have a confidence-boosting victory of sorts in midweek when getting 2 points from beating Newcastle on penalties in the League Cup. Let's take a check on the teams. Starting with Arsenal, Beth Mead makes her 200th appearance for the Gunners. Leah Williamson and Steph Catley are both back in the matchday squad. They're on the bench. There is 2 changes from the side that edged past Leicester 1-0 last weekend. Kim Little comes back in and skippers. Mariona Caldente also into the 11. Leah Valti and Caitlin Ford are the 2 to make way. Looking at Everton, 1 alteration from the side that lost 1-0 last time out in the WSL, with Viachki Sari in for Inma Gabaro, who unfortunately suffered an anterior cruciate ligament injury in that game. Particularly bad fortune for Toffees, because it was the second time that exact thing had happened in as many matches. Unfortunately, Aurora Gali suffered the same fate on match day 1 of the brand new campaign. So Gabaro and Gali on the treatment table. But it is the same system that Brian Sorensen particularly likes to play, with a back 3 that's a 3-4-3 in attack and more of a 5-4-1 in defence. Arsenal in a variant on a 4-2-3-1, all ready to go. Katie McCabe giving some final words in the huddle. They've got European matters to attend to in a few days, a really tricky match day 1 trip to Bayern Munich. And then, of course, the not-so-small matter of Chelsea on the horizon in the league next weekend. Have had the relative luxury of at least having a week without midweek football to prepare for this one. The Gunners, unlike Everton, who had that game away at Newcastle in the Women's League Cup, where they were behind in just the 5th minute thanks to Demi Stokes. Emma Bissell equalised 5 minutes after half-time, and then the Toffees comprehensively won the shootout 3-0. Everton in their home kit, despite very much being on the road, and a trip that has been very unkind to them over the years. Arsenal have won all 10 of their home meetings with Everton in the WSL. The most wins on home turf one side has ever managed over another in the competition's history. Everton did at least get a point against Arsenal when hosting the Gunners last season, thanks to a 95th minute equaliser from Izzy Hobson. But previous to that, Arsenal had won 16 games in a row against Everton in the league, which gives you an idea of just how dominant they have tended to be in this fixture. Arsenal to kick from left to right in this first half in their red and white, after the traditional rendition of North London Forever rings out here. Toffees in all blue. A moment to take a stand by, taking a knee against all forms of racism and discrimination. Really important that our game truly is for all of us to enjoy. Alessia Russo has the ball on the centre spot. We're off and underway for match day 3 here at the Emirates. Arsenal versus Everton. Gunners looking to continue their unbeaten start to the season, albeit just 2 games played. A draw against Manchester City, and then a win against Leicester. Meanwhile, Everton with 2 losses thus far. Crystal Palace the only other side to have that unfortunate record. Van Havermaet back to Brosnan, who was the hero midweek. Some fantastic flying stops in the game itself, and then some brilliant saves in the penalty shootout as well to get Everton past Newcastle, newly promoted into the Women's Championship this season, who were eyeing an upset against a WSL team. And forward into the channel for Russo, who has options arriving in the box. Oh, lovely jinking feet, and across for Leonardson Mornham. Can she bundle it in? Not quite. Well, Frida Leonardson-Mornham has been in the goals this season and almost had one in just the second minute here. Was just crowded out of it by a combination of Carolina Olsson and Justine van Havermaet. Leonardson-Mornham, who already has 4 goals across 6 games in all competitions thus far this season. Arsenal progressing slightly nervously, but getting their way through eventually in Champions League qualification action. Find themselves into the group stages. Last season, of course, lost out to Paris FC in qualifying, but made no such mistake this time around. Beat Rangers 6-0, and then saw off Rosenborg 1-0. Lost the first leg of their tie 1-0 at Swedish side BK Häcken, but more than made up for that at Meadow Park with a 4-0 win. First attack for Everton, ball forward towards Snoys. It didn't quite get there. Olsson. Van Stenevik. Was offering on the overlap and getting it on the overlap from Wheeler. Promising from the Toffees. Just trying to work it inside, but was lost by Holmgar. Strike on the turn, Little's header. Bit of a hot potato in there. Actually brought down nicely by Viatchiki Sari, who Arsenal fans will have particularly bad memories of. So let's click forward too much on it. Sari alongside Libby Smith was one of the 2 goal scorers at St Andrews way back once upon a time on a cold January day. And Birmingham City beat Arsenal 2-0 in a really big shock result. The Birmingham City side's first win in a year or so, Arsenal's first league defeat in a long time too, and it possibly was a big factor in denying the Gunners the title that season. This season, once again, everyone's chasing Chelsea. As Little helps that on. A little bit unconvincing that from Arsenal. Blue shirts swarming all over. Everton do like to play a high press when they can under Brian Sorensen. A flick on from Mead for Rousseau. It's good interplay. Mead in an unfamiliar centre-back position there, helping it on. Broken the press well here, Arsenal. McCabe has options. One of them is Arsenal's marquee summer signing, Mariona. Now McCabe to cross, made by Van Havermaet. Cooney Cross had to be careful, got it back to Little. Ruben Moy. Mead. McCabe on for Leonardson-Mornham. Mariona. Works it inside, Cooney Cross. Everton now very much deep set. Long spell of possession this, just as I say that. A little intervention to put it out for a throw from Holmgar. Leonardson-Mornham has McCabe on the outside. Mariona. Lovely progression this from Arsenal. It was towards Mead. Stenovic got the header away in the nick of time. And now McCabe urged to shoot and zings it over the bar. It's Mead looking for the header at that far post. It's only half cleared. Gave McCabe a chance to have a go. Arsenal set on the high press from the goal kick. Remember, this is by no means the only game going on today. Manchester City 1-0 up against West Ham early in the second half. That one kicked off an hour before us. Lauren Hemp's scoring set up by Mary Fowler. Chelsea versus Manchester United, of course, postponed due to a series of domino effects around fixture clashes and scheduling. Tottenham versus Liverpool kicks off in about 10 minutes or so, and Leicester City versus Crystal Palace gets going in just under an hour. Away by Van Donselaar. Concedes possession to Everton, who can look to build. Sent long, cleared by McCabe, given away by Olesen. Little. And Donselaar thinking of going a little more direct there before popping it on to Ruben Moy. And Donselaar signed in the summer from Aston Villa after an excellent season with them in the English top flight. Last time around, had a breakthrough time of it in the 2022 Euros as well. And built her CV at FC20. Says Fox has room to roam. Ruben Moy. Ruben Moy's cross, dealt with by the ever reliable Megan Finnegan. Club's longest serving player. He's pushing towards 200 appearances for the Toffees. Is very much Mrs. Everton, the 26-year-old. It feels like she's been there forever. Ball clipped down the line. Fox has room to roam. Fox's cross. Oh, it's come off the top of the bar. It's still kept in play. Now Russo. Arsenal desperate to bundle it in. Mariona chips one up. Deflected out for a corner. Arsenal building momentum. Well, I think if Emily Fox had got her first goal for the Gunners like this, even she would admit it wasn't necessarily what she was trying to do. Just a little dink into that danger zone from the US international. What can Arsenal do from the corner? It's an in-swinger towards Leonard Simornum. It might fall for Mariona. He flicks it over the bar. Mariona Caldente. Same in the summer from Barcelona. After winning just the 25 trophies I make it in a decade or so at Barcelona. Absolutely ridiculous. More than 300 appearances there. And of course, a World Cup winner with Spain too. And at 28, you would sense probably, you know, around the peak years of her career. So what a pickup that was for Arsenal. Ball clipped forward. It's got too much on it for Olesen. Oh, it's, well, very dangerous back there. No foul given. It's Olesen who has lots of support. Couldn't quite find Sarri. It's not the first time today that Arsenal have looked very nervous in that part of the pitch. Now clipped back towards goal, and it's well, even then, Van Donselaar drops it. And just will take a moment to calm things down here. Arsenal living a touch dangerously. Dropped it onto her head, and then was able to, with some relief, clutch it afterwards. With an Everton striker being in somewhat closer attendance, it could have been a different story. Relatively lively first 10 minutes or so here then, even though we haven't had a goal. Everton showing some good moments when pressing Arsenal high up the pitch, and the Gunners certainly creating their fair share of chances. Fox's cross that hit the bar, the closest they've come. Cordina progressing forward with purpose. McCabe looks in the channel. And that will be another Arsenal corner. Not for the first time today. Good work from Alessia Russo. She is a centre forward nominally, but loves to work really hard in those wide spaces, using her pace and skill to good effect. And it brings Arsenal yet another early corner. Training ground routine, and it nearly skipped in. Lotte Wubben-Moy was looking to get the final touch. Cleverly worked move, little dummy from Leonard Simornum. Ends up in the gloves of Brosnan. Not the best pass for Fox. There's good defence coming back from Alderson. Holmgaard. Wing-back so key in this system that Brian Sorensen prefers. Deflected cross. Holmgaard has to do a lot of work down that left, and same goes for Lucy Hope down the right. Something Sorensen installed pretty much from the moment he came in. Vastly preferring systems that were variants on a back three. Had a very quick impact on things, Brian Sorensen, when he first came in. 6 wins from 11. Everton haven't quite matched that form since. Ball forward overhit that was looking for Holmgaard. Everton won 6 of their first 11 when Brian Sorensen first came in league matches. That was in the latter part of 2022, but since then just 9 wins from 35. 18 points from 11 and then 35 from 35 games. Stopped by Van Havermaet. Now Wheeler, Aussie international, finds Snoyce, who hasn't seen a lot of the ball, but is without doubt one of the key dangers on this pitch for Everton. It's been a really good addition for them across recent seasons. Plays a 50th game for the Toffees today. And scored a couple against Arsenal in recent times. Scored in the game where Everton were hosting in May 2023 and scored away against Arsenal in January of this year, Katja Snoyce. Hayashi. Cheeky flick from Hope. Wins the throw in off McCabe. Was looking for the inside run of Stenovic. Van Havermaet forward. No offside flag up against Snoyce yet, but there is now. Snoyce looking to make a nuisance of herself in the channels. Dutch international who initially built the CV predominantly in her homeland with Telstar, Alkmaar and PSV before a decent spell at Bordeaux, and then the Toffees came calling. Scored 7 goals in the WSL last season, Everton's top scorer. Van Domselaar finds Wubben-Moy. Clip ball from Wubben-Moy off the chest of Mead. Little, Arsenal are building here. Mariona. Wubben-Moy. Patient possession. I'll look for more at the end of it all, of course. Not a side that tend to lack goals, Arsenal, but weren't quite at their brilliant best last weekend against Leicester. Frida Leonard Simornum's goal 10 minutes into the second half settled it, but it's a performance that likes of, say, Tim Stillman, respected journalist who covers Arsenal week in, week out, described as painful to watch. And as Seydaval saying, there are some of those days where you just need to take the 3 points without playing brilliant football all the time, finding ways to win. And that's what Arsenal did. Daphne van Domselaar made a debut for Arsenal in goal in that game against Leicester, made some brilliant saves and has kept her spot. Ashley's header, and then a little game of head tennis, which ends in Stenovic putting her foot through it. Nudged out of play. Forward isn't the best. McCabe can easily pick it up. Well, don't underestimate what a story it would be today if Everton were to pull off a shock. Haven't beaten any of Chelsea, Manchester United, Manchester City and Arsenal in the WSL since September 2013, more than 11 years ago. And they won 3-2 against Chelsea. Tony Duggan, Michelle Hinnigan and Chantal Boy-Halorka the scorers that day. 53 losses and 4 draws against the two Manchester clubs, Arsenal and Chelsea, in the league since. As Russo loses it, might be a chance for Everton on the break here. Hayashi trying to thread a bit of an eye of a needle to find Sarri. Two summer signings looking to link up. Hayashi recruited from West Ham. Moy has time. He's so often a good distributor from the back. Fox. Lead inside. It's good anticipation from Olusun. And has to fight to get it away from Leonardson Mornham. Mariona just trying to find Leonardson Mornham on the inside ball. Little. Ball forward, love the intricate working through the play here, and Cooney Cross puts it wide. Beautiful, delicate touches in the box from Arsenal that just didn't quite have the finish. Mariona, then Cooney Cross, Russo, and the Australian again, who couldn't quite finish to get her goal account going for the campaign. Cooney Cross still hunting what would be a first Arsenal goal after joining from Hammarby last year. He's previously been at Melbourne Victory in Australia as well. And then spent time at Hammarby in Sweden before joining the Gunners. He spent in the approximate region of €150,000 on her. She was wanted by a lot of different top clubs. Coming together here, and it looks to be a pretty unpleasant one for both parties, Kodina and Kaciusnois. Hopefully not quite as serious as it first looks. 50-50 coming together between centre-back and centre-forward. Well, these are Arsenal's best opportunities. Frida Leonardson-Mornham potentially handling the ball, looking at that replay. He's trying to spin and score with just 70 seconds or so on the clock. And then Fox's cross hit the top of the bar. Arsenal couldn't quite bundle it back towards goal, despite their best efforts. Mariona eventually winning a corner, which was ultimately cleared. And this was possibly the best side of goal Arsenal got in the match. Cooney Cross was a little off balance though, and on her less preferred left foot. Well, this will add a chunk of first half stoppage time on at the end of things. Cordina and Snois both ready to come back on, it seems. For now though, 10v10. Set piece chance for Everton to grab a surprise lead. Here comes the free kick. Came off Mead. Back for Hayashi. Really impressive technical player, the Japanese international. Has 33 caps for Japan and will be particularly important to Everton, you sense, now that Aurora Gali is injured, operating in that box-to-box central midfield role for the Toffees. Everton, who thus far lost 4-0 at Brighton and 1-0 at home against Manchester United before that midweek Conti Cup success. League Cup success, I should say. Van Havma. Just a loose touch and then pulling back Mariona. Well, she will be a touch lucky to not go in the book for that, I would think. And it appears she's avoided such a fate. Stopped what was a promising counter-attack building for Arsenal, albeit the foul was in Mariona's own half. Nice distribution from Van Domsela. Little spreads it wide. Mariona has McCabe offering. A natural angle that left-footed left back charging forward brings you. Cooney Cross. Little. Fox. Arsenal dominating possession, as many before this game would have predicted. Everton predominantly looking to play on the counter-attack. As Hongar sees that one out. Everton, who shouldn't be forgotten, have got incredible history in the women's game. Began using the Everton name in 1995, were known as so Pacific before that. Won the women's top flight title in 1997-98, had their first European campaign in 2008. In 2011 reached the Champions League quarter-finals, also were one of the founding members of the WSL. Surprisingly were relegated in 2014 before returning to the top flight 8 years ago and have been there ever since. Twice FA Cup winners as well, Everton, in 2010 and 1989. Mead just loses out, nice defending. And then Mead trips Hongar. Trying to work it forward. Couldn't quite find Stenovic. You could see what Olesen was looking to do. Arsenal hunting on the high press. Everton trying to find their way out. Almost caught out there, Brosnan. And there's still danger. It's Mariona. And it's too close to Courtney Brosnan, who can make amends with the save. Everton's turn to live dangerously at the back. Pass was not a great one. And then Claire Wheeler cleared it straight to Mariona Caldente. Here come Arsenal again. Mariona finds Russo, who has Mead inside. It's Beth Mead. And Van Havermaet gets back and makes a crucial interception. Nice fighting forward, losing the battle with Codina. Van Domselaar. For Benoit. Also with a lot of possession early doors, but Courtney Brosnan hasn't necessarily needed to make a particularly spectacular save to keep it at 0-0 yet. Albeit a goal has certainly been regularly under threat. Russo. Cooney cross. Round the corner, Little's clip ball, it almost ran to the far post. Russo was waiting for it. It's interesting to note, Alessia Russo does often in attack, and this has been the case for a lot of her career as well, including her time at Manchester United. In youth football, it's tended to like to peel off predominantly towards that left-hand channel. In this Arsenal system, what that means is then Frida Leonardson-Mornham in that number 10 role has the ability to roam through the centre as well. Two Arsenal players got in each other's way there. Little and Mariona inadvertently stopping each other progressing. Half-hour mark reached. Still goalless here. Elsewhere, there has been an early goal between Tottenham and Liverpool. Liverpool 1 up away in that one. Snoyce. Round the corner. Offering on the overlap is Lucy Hope, who wasn't quite found by Beatrice Sari. To relieved applause from the vast majority of the crowd in here at the Emirates. Arsenal looking to make it 15 consecutive home wins when facing Everton across all competitions. A truly extraordinarily one-sided run. Last time Everton beat Arsenal, home or away, was 2011. 3-1 home win for Everton. Last one at Arsenal in March 2009, 15 plus years ago. That was Arsenal's first league loss in 108 league games, with Farrah Williams, Michelle Hinnigan and Jill Scott all scoring for Everton, who've got defending to do. Leonardson-Mornham. Van Havermaet clears. Cooney cross. He couldn't quite get onto it. Well defended by Stenovic. There's Stenovic, the Norwegian youth international who's been at Everton for a couple of years now. Joining from Eskilstuna in the Damallsvenskan in Sweden. one of a number of players recruited from that part of the world by Brian Sørensen. It's Leonardsen Mornum, chance to cross, wins the corner instead. Important covering from the central midfielder Honoka Hayashi, because the back three got a little bit exposed there. See Van Havermaet is at right centre-back, but she's busy covering the cross. What can Arsenal create? They've had plenty of corners in this first half. Need in. Came off Finnegan. Little's header. And out from Hayashi. Little. Leonardsen Mornum. Hustle up there from Snoyce just to try and make an inconvenience of herself to Godina. Cooney cross. Fox. It's the start of what is a pretty hectic run of fixtures for Arsenal. We welcome Chelsea in 6 days' time and have the small way in the Champions League group stages. Got a tough group, the Gunners. Juventus and Arsenal also in there. Juventus and Vålerenga are also in there, beg your pardon. Arsenal travel to Vålerenga in match day 2 of the Champions League in 10 days' time. And then in November have a trip to Juventus and then welcome the Italian club. As Leonardsen Mornum takes aim, and Brosnan makes a smart stop to her right. Might be the closest Arsenal have come to a goal so far. Leonardsen Mornum skipping away from Finnegan. Brosnan with the smart stop to keep it at 0-0. Leonardsen Mornum almost making it 5 goals in 7 games this season across all competitions. Needs ball in. Van Havermaet didn't clear her nines initially. Fortune favoured the Belgian in giving her a second chance to do so. McCabe. Little's clip ball forward. Brosnan came out, couldn't catch it. Instead, with a crowd of bodies around her, just got it away. Snoyce is fouled. And Brosnan's down. She was caught after punching that one clear. The Irish keeper, who played all 3 games for the Republic of Ireland at the Women's World Cup, kept a clean sheet against Nigeria in the final group stage game of that last Women's World Cup back last year. Has made herself more often than not the keeper of choice for Brian Sørensen across his reign in recent times. Joined Everton back in 2021 after a couple of seasons at West Ham where she didn't play quite as much as she might have liked. She's also been in the USA and spent her early club years in France. Chance for both teams to get some fluids on board in what's been a little bit of a stop-start first half. After today, Everton host West Ham in a week's time, where if they don't pick up a point today, they'll travel still looking to get their tally going for the new season. Jonas Edeval getting a chance to pass on instructions to his side. The passionate Swede may or may not be aware that if he wins today, it will be his 50th win in the WSL as a manager in his 69th game. 9 draws and 10 losses. He would be the 2nd quickest manager to reach that 50 wins milestone in Women's Super League history, behind only his predecessor at Arsenal, Joe Montemurro, who did it in 66 games, this being Edeval's 69th. Montemurro, of course, amongst other things, leading the Gunners to their last WSL title, which came back in the 18-19 season. Chelsea have won it in every single season since. Those two, of course, meet in what will be a blockbuster clash next weekend for match day 4. And if Arsenal are to show that they are serious title contenders, then a result in that one will go a long way to doing so. As Van Domselaar comes out and just about deals with the danger. And Hudson Mornham. The forward has too much on it for the Norwegian. Hayashi loses it to Cooney Cross. Real danger here. The Everton defence wasn't set, but the pass wasn't quite weighted right for Russo. Finnegan. Megan Finnegan, who's talked a lot about how in the last few years off the field yoga has really helped football with conditioning and managing her body through the rigours of playing week in, week out. She's a remarkably consistent name on the team sheet across all competitions for Everton over the years. Stenovic. Hayashi running onto it, promising this from Everton. Sarri's going to have a go, and pushed onto the bar by Van Domselaar. Everton nearly in front from a Sarri spectacular. Striking from some distance, it definitely swerved. An awkward one for the Dutch keeper. Manages to push it onto the woodwork. First corner of the game for Everton. Not quite a bus stop routine, but a collection of blue shirts waiting for it. It's towards Van Havermaet, and it's cleared off the line nervously by McCabe. My goodness me, awkward moments for Arsenal. Everton pushing. Van Havermaet so tall and has a good leap. She's always a decent option to pick out from a corner. McCabe unconvincing, but did enough. Yachuki Sarri, the Greek international, to take the corner. Sarri's corner is another dangerous one. Lucy Hope appealing that that came off head of an Arsenal player. Hope was certainly challenging for it. Arsenal trying to work it out from the back. Mariona. Into the last 5 minutes of this first half. Can anyone pinch a lead to head into half-time? Fox with a clever ball for Russo. Charges down that right channel. Up against Finnegan. Russo's cross. Headed up and away by Lucy Hope. Russo again showing that ability to get in those wide areas. I wonder if it's something Arsenal have thought about as well with that wing-back system that Everton employ. It can mean that sometimes if the likes of Hope and Holmgar are caught forward, there's an opportunity to get the ball just down in those areas by either corner flag. McCabe. It's another little training ground move. Little worked the shooting chance for Fox to have a go. Brosnan was not sure. It just drifts wide off the boot of Emily Fox, still chasing her first Arsenal goal in the WSL. Emily Fox, far better known for her excellent defensive work. Well, it wasn't an easy one for Brosnan to assess the angles of there. She had multiple players in front of her between the angle where Fox hit the shot from. Emily Fox, who has more than a half-century of caps for the US women's national team. An NWSL experience with Racing Louisville and the North Carolina Courage before joining Arsenal, like a lot of American players, and indeed plenty of English players, that likes of Lotte Wubben-Moy and Rousseau on this pitch now, came through the college system. It's Leonardson Mornham. Still Leonardson Mornham. Challenged by a combination of Wheeler and Hope. Well, for all Arsenal's possession, Everton have been resilient and well organised in defence. Leonardson Mornham with a clever ball through, beautifully weighted. Mariona cleared by Finnegan. Very awkward for Finnegan there because she's running backwards and has to try and get her feet set in the right place to make sure it goes straight out for a corner. Doesn't want to give Alessia Russo a sniff, that's for sure. Corner ends up in the gloves of Brosnan. Mariona catches Olsson in possession. And then Little wriggles free. She's so good at that, Kim Little. So hard to stop. I know plenty of Arsenal fans, and indeed a couple of sources I know at the club, were quietly relieved when she curtailed her international career with Scotland to extend things even further with Arsenal. That was a little while back now. Still good as ever. McCabe. McCabe's cross towards Fox, who heads over. Couldn't quite keep it down. And looking to get herself ahead of Sarah Holmgar. Could have been her first Gunners goal. Not quite. Plenty of pace on the ball through for the American. Slightly ghosted in ahead of Holmgar at the back stick. Into the last minute of this first half. Brosnan set to go long from the goal kick. Straight out of play from Stenovic. McCabe. 3 minutes added on. McCabe was trying to get onto it. Denied by a well-timed sliding tackle. It's not pressing with purpose. Little. Everton, when banked in like this under Sorensen, tend to defend with a 5-4-1. Slice the lone striker. And the fullbacks Hope and Holmgar tucking in alongside the back three. Russo. Finnegan got an important nick on it. And Snoyce lost out to Wubben-Moy. Mariona was there to clean up. Cooney cross. Little ball forward, Leonardson Mornham trying to flick it back inside. Wubben-Moy with some great defence, just trying to pin Everton in. Small forward has a lot on it. Sarri won't have a chance of getting there. Not Van Donselaar's best clearance. Remember, if you wish to keep up with everything across social media, you can do so. Arsenal are on @ArsenalWFC on X, formerly known as Twitter. Everton Women on @EvertonWomen. The league account @Barclays WSL. If you wish to send a message or a question to me, your matchday commentator Michael McCann, you can do so on @ThisIsMcCann. This is McCann, MCCANN. And of course, do make sure you subscribe to the Barclays Women's Super League YouTube page, where you can get plenty of content behind the scenes, as well as live coverage of games as well. Make sure to be following across social media to not miss a beat. Down the line for Fox. Sliding challenge from Stanovic is an excellent one. Everton absorbed a lot of pressure in this first half. It's been a really impressive, brave and tactically astute defensive effort from Bjørn Sørensen's players. Arsenal have one last chance to pick the lock before the break. I do like these short corners under Edeval this season. They've been a regular used threat. Mead is there for it, but now drifts away. And Cabe's ball in. Hayashi's header comes for Cooney cross, who gets it all wrong. That'll be that for the first half at the Emirates. Well, Everton might have lost on their last 14 visits to Arsenal in all competitions, going back to 2011, and they might be pointless from their first 2 WSL games. But at the break, they are holding the Gunners and have had a couple of positive moments themselves in attack when Arsenal have been a touch nervy playing out from the back. The Gunners have dominated possession and haven't yet managed to make that tell. At half-time, it's Arsenal 0, Everton 0. Final checks made by referee Stacey Pearson. Gets us off and underway for the second half. After the first half, where Arsenal had more of the possession, but Everton had their fair share of goal threat too. Yachki Sarri forcing Daphne van Donselaar into a difficult save, and Justin van Havermaet's header from the resulting corner being cleared off the line by Katie McCabe. Arsenal had plenty of chances themselves as well. Courtney Brosnan forced to make multiple good saves. To go back to July 2011 for the last time Everton even won against Arsenal, including the home games when facing the Gunners. But they've more than matched them in that first period. It does look like, from taking a glance at the Everton backline, it will be a straight swap there. Heather Payne coming in at left centre-back for Elisa Stanovic, who, I'm hearing, has just picked up a little niggle. That's why she's been substituted. Both teams have 5 substitutions, of course. It's one of the ways football's changed, up from 3 in the post-COVID era, something that was brought in initially during COVID. So Everton have got 4 left, Arsenal have got 5, but those 5 changes must be made across a maximum of 3 stoppages in the game. But the half-time break, because it's an interval anyway, doesn't count as one of those stoppages. Too much on that for Fox. Elsewhere, it's finished up in Manchester. Mary Fowler with a goal and an assist. She set up Lauren Hemp for the first after 10 minutes, and then with 71 minutes on the clock was herself assisted by Khadija Bunny Shaw. 2-0 win for Manchester City against West Ham, who Arsenal face in the league in a couple of weeks' time. At half-time between Tottenham and Liverpool, Liverpool are 1-0 up, and Leicester versus Crystal Palace has just kicked off. Hope skipping past Mariona. Just playing touchline tango and losing her angles. That win for Manchester City takes them top with 7 points from 3. But Chelsea have won both of their games so far. The same can be said for Manchester United. They were meant to meet this weekend. That was postponed. Brighton are sat in third with 6 points from 3. A victory here for Arsenal would take them top of the table on goal difference above Manchester City. Well, both players ending up down there, both Russo and Hope. For Russo, it's the left ankle that's the problem. It seems like pretty much the same for Hope. Just in the way they came together, but they've both beckoned the medics away, which is cautiously good signs. Everton have already got a bit of an injury list building, with Inma Gabaro and Aurora Gali both out with anterior cruciate ligament injuries, the worst kind of injuries to be getting, of course. It's a long road back from there. Arsenal able to welcome Leah Williamson and Steph Catley back onto the bench today, which is good news for them. Victoria Pelova is still coming back from an ACL injury. The versatile Dutch midfielder Amanda Illistedt, in a much more happier reason to be unavailable, is on maternity leave. Wishing her all the best with that, of course. She's received plenty of support, the Swedish defender from Arsenal. Knocked out of play from Payne. McCabe. Mariona. Twisting and turning, that's beautiful from Mariona. Leonard Simornen blocked by Van Havermaet in the nick of time. It's just little moments like that where Mariona Caldente shows her class and shows why she was such an integral part of that Barcelona team that won near enough everything for a decade. Just the feet there to set up Leonard Simornen. Those two linking up again. McCabe, Mariona wants it. Crossfield for Mariona, who was born in Mallorca. There's a football pitch named after her in her hometown of Viladnix, which is a nice touch. Cooney cross on, Little likes to take aim from positions like that, but instead has found Mead. Mead's ball in. Hayashi was in the right place at the right time and then hurriedly clears. It's only 5 minutes into the second half, but Arsenal building a real sense of momentum. McCabe. Everton have had very little of the ball at the start of this second half. We just want a spell in possession to compose themselves. That looked like it might have come off the hand of Sarri, but on we go. It's well done from Hope. And just gets muscled out of it by McCabe. Everton once again absorbing pressure. Plenty of options on the bench for Arsenal to look to offer a different threat to the Toffees. There was a Kafaji, summer signing, who was so impressive for PK Häcken, particularly in the UEFA Women's Champions League last season on their run to the quarterfinals. That caught the gunner's attention. winger, Caitlin Ford, the free-flowing midfielder, Katrina Kuhl, and Swedish striker Stina Blackstenius will be the most obvious options. Teasing cross, it was towards Wheeler, who throws her head up to the sky in frustration. She knows, had she managed to just about bring that down, there was a real chance there. Everton hunting a surprise. Last season they got their first WSL point against Arsenal since August 2012. This is Hobson's 95th minute equaliser. Hope trying to cut inside. Cooney Cross used her body very cleverly in the duel there. Just got herself in between Hope and the ball and drew the foul. Mead. Fox, underlapping as modern fullbacks so often like to do. Mariona. McCabe. McCabe's ball in, Van Havermaet's header. McCabe again. Down the line for Little. It's a heck of a sliding challenge from Olsson. Not just to win the ball, not just to win the ball initially, but in perfect position to get up and complete the clearance. But it is a bit attack versus defence at the start of this second half as Fox runs out of room. You do wonder at what point Agdeval might turn to his bench, and indeed Brian Sørensen, who has already made one alteration at half-time, but given the pattern of play, how dominant Arsenal have been since the break, you can kind of understand why the Swede would be content with the 11 that are on the field. Little on for Leonardson Mornham, who might take aim. Mariona is met by a wall of blue and still keeps the ball somehow. Cooney Cross might shoot. Instead again just looks up and sees a wave of blue shirts in front of her. Little's ball in, came off the chest of Finnegan. Now Cooney Cross. McCabe. Hayashi clears. They didn't have that much possession in the first half, Arsenal. Everton, I should say. There's no doubt Arsenal had more of it, but that has been massively ramped up as a pattern after the break. Everton have barely had the ball at all, never mind had it in a threatening position since we restarted. McCabe. Good defence again from Everton, who've been very alert to Arsenal's threat with those underlapping fullbacks coming inside. Same with the wingers. Mariona has three ahead of her, one of whom is Mead, who gets the pass all wrong to her visible frustration. Flipped forward by Holmgar. Back with Van Donselaar, who's had very much a watching brief in this second half. They had to make a very good save from Sari to tip the ball onto the bar in the first. Snoyce. Hayashi. All of a sudden, real possibilities for Everton. Hayashi decided to have a shot. Second time round does look to pass, and the cross is too close to Van Donselaar. Dutch international can gather with relative ease and try and set Leonardson Mornham going. Russo. And Havermaet using her strength and awareness to good effect. far off the hour mark. It would be one of the stories of the weekend if Everton can come here and avoid defeat against Arsenal, who themselves have not lost in their last 6 games at the Emirates in the WSL. 5 wins and a draw. Entertaining 2-2 draw in the Viviana Miedema reunion occasion. Heavyweight clash, Arsenal drawing 2-2 with Manchester City. Wheeler fighting for it with Cooney Cross and losing the duel against her fellow Aussie. And now Leonardson Mornham, who can only hit it straight at Courtney Brosnan. Does like to take aim from distance, Leonardson Mornham, and that little inside right angle is one of her favourite areas to shoot from. Plenty of power on the strike from the Norwegian. It looks to me like Tony Payne is warmed up and ready to come on. Would be Everton's second change. Payne still settling into life in a toffee shirt, signing the summer of 2024 from Sevilla after impressing for Nigeria at the Women's World Cup the year before. She was actually eligible to play for the USA as well and played age group football for the US at international level. She's also previously played for Ajax, signing for them after she was invited for an internship following her time at university. Tony Payne comes on. Looks like will be a straight swap for Viatchiki Sari down that inside right channel. Sari, who's come closer than arguably anyone else on either side to breaking the deadlock here. Payne yet to score for Everton. What a story it would be if she could get her first goal in blue here. Havermart just running it out of play, and you can see Eidevall there prowling right on the edge of his technical area, desperate to get Arsenal going. Rousseau can be so difficult to handle as a direct runner. And Van Havermart is down, having been winded in the process of fouling Rousseau. May yet get a yellow card to add to her troubles. It looks to me like Arsenal are going to make a triple change very soon. That change will be made after the free kick, which is just about dealt with by Everton. Cooney Cross. And then back in and caught by Brosnan. Stina Blackstenius. The obvious replacement would be Alessia Russo for the Swedish striker. Caitlin Ford seems like she's ready to come on as well. And Leah Williamson too. Brosnan has to be wary. There you go, you can see the free ready to come on. What a free to bring on. Williamson at the back, Ford a little further forward, Blackstenius up top. Caitlin Ford did play fullback earlier on this season at one point for 25 minutes as injury cover. Wonder whether it might be a change of system from Eidevall. For now, on we go. Brosnan. As the minutes tick down, you just feel the Emirates getting more and more nervy. Arsenal desperate to find a way through. For them and for their ambitions this season, it would feel like 2 points dropped. From Everton's point of view, if they were to get a point, certainly based on what we've seen so far in the contest, they'd be well worth it. They've offered a threat on the counter and they've fought and defended well at the back. They're working the ball forward nicely here, Everton. Covering defence from Mariona is good after Sarah Hongar had broken forward, and now finally that triple change, which has been ready for a while, can be made. Well, it might well be more time at fullback for Caitlin Ford, but you'd imagine a very aggressive, forward-thinking fullback. She did play at fullback a fair bit at the very start of her career, the Australian, particularly when coming through in youth football. Emily Fox making way. Fox, who had a header that was a good chance to come on, Stina Blackstenius has just run on. And now we'll come back to wait for Alessia Russo. Substitutions would be pretty handy if you could take one off and send 2 players on. Blackstenius on for Alessia Russo as anticipated, and Lotte Wubben-Moy makes way. Alessia Russo makes way for Stina Blackstenius. Caitlin Ford comes on for Emily Fox. And to complete the change, pretty handy player to be able to bring on when you're looking for some defence splitting passes. A certain Leah Catherine Williamson. Off the field has done an excellent interview with Fern Cotton recently about bouncing back from her ACL and all things of life on and off the field. It's well worth checking out. Chance to shoot for Leonardson Mornamu. Couldn't really get it out of her feet and get the power and precision needed on it to overly bother Brosnan. Good probing from Arsenal though. Brosnan's had plenty of saves to make. She certainly had to work for her clean sheet. So Arsenal have made that triple change. Everton have made just 2. So the Gunners have got 2 subs left up their sleeve. Everton have 3. Payne trying to wriggle through. Hope was frustrated the ball wasn't played to her. It'll be fascinating to see if this is a switch of system from Arsenal. Williamson forward for Ford. He gets it stuck between her feet. Does look like Ford is working predominantly down that right-hand channel. Arsenal unbeaten at the Emirates in their last 6 in the WSL, winning 5 since a shock victory for Everton. For Liverpool, I should say. Everton's big Merseyside rivals, a 1-0 win, which came right at the start of last season. Arsenal hoping that this season's early ambitions won't be dented by another club from Merseyside coming and getting a result. Ford can be so hard to stop when she gets going, and she has got going. Mariona, Ford again. Injecting fresh rhythm into this Arsenal side and winning the corner off Lucy Hogue. Almost midway through this second half. Arsenal hoping that their pressure will tell. Arsenal consistently opting not to initially put corners into the box, and now they do. Mariona. Ford. Cooney cross. Lots of room, it's opened up nicely. Header half away, comes back for Mead. Can't quite slide it through. Hayashi. Payne, her teammate, got in her way for a second there. Snoyce goes down and wins a free kick that will give Everton a moment to breathe. Havermar. Arsenal fans singing the name of Katie McCabe. Very valuable part of the Gunners' side with her versatility up and down the left flank and then down the right flank in a more inverted role. That's something that has come during Jonas Heideval's reign. Mariona sees it out of play. Now here is McCabe. Payne. Seems to have just injured her right ankle there and stopped for a second, got her pocket picked. Ford. Blackstenius. There's plenty of options. Ford again. Not the best cross. Gives Everton a chance to reset. Everton, whose crest that accompanies the club motto, you may notice if you look closely at it, it says Everton 1878 nil satis nisi optimum, which, for those for whom Latin isn't your best language, means nothing but the best is good enough. And you would certainly have to say that Everton have lived up to that grand old history and such a motto today in how they've played. Making themselves mightily awkward here for Arsenal. Remember last season they lost 2-1 away, but got a 1-1 draw when they were at home in the 2 league meetings. Hope. Mariona's pressure did just enough to distract Lucy Hope. He was visibly annoyed to put it into touch. Everton boss Brian Sorensen saying we go to Arsenal with no pressure because not many people are expecting us to do anything this weekend. Well, they are 20 minutes plus stoppages from doing something very, very special. Van Domselaar has given it to Hayashi. Payne. Loses out against Cooney Cross. Leonardson Warnham has Mariona. Still Mariona round the outside of Hope. He gets in and makes an important sliding challenge. Well, Hope and Holmgar on both flanks as the wing-backs in this system that Brian Sorensen prefers have been excellent in their defensive duties. Arsenal have clearly targeted those wide areas, and those two have been alert to that danger. Need to cross. Will Arsenal for once put the ball in first time? They will. Meads corner, caught well by Brosnan, who had plenty of company. Plenty of distractions. It's nice goalkeeping from Courtney Brosnan. Everton inching closer to a first clean sheet against Arsenal since 2009. 15 years ago. Some of the younger players, particularly on the Everton bench, were barely just about born then. Cooney Cross. Does look like it's been a switch to a free at the back system for Arsenal, with Williamson down the right side of it. Cooney Cross again. McCabe. Mead. Mead again. Mead's cross. Only half cleared by Finnegan. Little's header, and then Leonardson Mornan was in there. Ball just wouldn't quite drop for the Norwegian to try a volley that had a bit more bite behind it. Ends up scooping it over the bar. And the clock continues to tick down.
Thank you viewers for your incredible support here today at Emirates Stadium. Today's crowd is 25,480.
Crowd of 25,480 here at the Emirates for this one. Arsenal, of course, have been early adopters of playing plenty of games in their main stadium. Last season, I know they were really disappointed to not have regular Champions League nights here after losing out to Paris FC in qualifying. They've got that to look forward to this time around. I hope for a repeat deep run in the competition. Semi-finalists a couple of seasons ago, when much like the last time they were in the semi-finals back around 15 years or so ago, they've lost out to VfL Wolfsburg, the German giants. Arsenal, of course, winners way back in 2007 as well of that prestigious competition. But to get 25,000 for this fixture as well in and of itself is great to see. Although plenty of occasions here at the Emirates have had even bigger crowds for the Arsenal women's team. McCabe on for Mead. That's lovely feet from Beth Mead. It's Mead's pullback, and just as Mariona was dreaming of shooting, in ghosted Heather Payne to nick it off her. My goodness me, you won't see a better interception all season. Here come Arsenal again. Cross over the head of Blackstenius. Clearance missed by Hayashi. Leonard Samornum. Mead. Cooney cross. Ran into Hayashi. McCabe. McCabe lifts it forward. It's over the head of Blackstenius. Let's take a look at Beth Mead at her best. Getting past Lucy Hope with ease. And there, in the nick of time, was Heather Payne. Payne, who can play all over the field, but is settled as a defender. He's talked about being excited to develop at Everton. Mead, Leonard Samornum, Blackstenius. Olesen was trying to thump it clear, but it will come straight back at Arsenal, at Everton. Ford. Arsenal are going to make another change in the next break in play. Looks to me like Liavalti is ready to come on. The Swiss ambi-pedal. Mead. Mead inside, well worked. McCabe skipping forward. Came off the heel of Wheeler. McCabe wants Mead in a wide position. Little ball forward towards Blackstenius. And Havermart's header concedes the corner. Everton defending resolutely and impressively. We've got a double change here. Katie McCabe makes way for Steph Catley. Welcome return to Arsenal action for Steph Catley, and Kyra Cooney-Cross is the fifth Arsenal player to come off, and on comes Liavalti. Swiss captain, so impressive as a two-footed passer at the base of the midfield. If there was a band, she'd be a drummer. And it comes from Mead. Doesn't beat the first defender. It wasn't a great corner in truth. And then the throw-in is one off Catley. Catley, like Leah Williamson, returning to the matchday squad today. It's the first competitive appearance of the season for Steph Catley. She's played in friendlies against Washington and Chelsea as part of Arsenal's pre-season tour. But for a competitive appearance in an Arsenal shirt, you have to go all the way back to the 18th of May in the 5-0 win against Brighton. Everton furious they didn't get the throw. Here's forward with lots of room and lots of options. Out for a corner, could have been so much more. Catley to take. Catley's corner. Okay, much like Meads on the other side a moment or so ago. Didn't beat the first defender, which was Hayashi. Long ball forward, won't find Alderson. Ball forward looking for Catley. Ten minutes or so plus stoppages left. Everton absorbing a lot of pressure and inching towards a big story here. Heather Payne picks up a yellow card for the challenge. Mariona over it. Ball forward, might fall for Leonardson-Mornham, still in there. And it comes off Finnegan and out. Took a ball to the face there as well, Frida Leonardson-Mornham at some point in what was a proper bit of penalty box pinball. Gets cleared into face of the Norwegian, who did well to keep her composure and get a shot off on goal. Change coming for Everton. It's Emma Bissell who got her first goal of the season in midweek. Bissell, who joined Everton from Bristol City after coming through the Manchester City Academy and the US college system at Florida State before that. Scored the equaliser against Newcastle in the League Cup in midweek before Everton went on to win on penalties. She's on for Kaczysnois. He couldn't quite mark a 50th Everton appearance today with a goal. Got relatively little service. Everton have been on the back foot for the majority of the contest. Ashley missed out. Leonardson-Mornham. Blackstenius. Mead. Catley. Mariona. Might take aim herself, does. Deflection, and it's kind for Everton. It couldn't have been kinder, really. Well, Arsenal really have gone for broke here. He used all 5 substitutes with 77 minutes or so on the clock, knowing that if anybody were to get injured after that point, you're going to have to just play on with 10. So Yuna Sedaval has certainly been more than content to roll the dice. As things stand, hasn't got anything to show for it. Bissell. Everton certainly despite losing 1-0 against Manchester United, put in a good performance for long passages of play, and we've seen that again today, regardless of the result from here. Mead was trying to get it away, but couldn't do so. Now Honga, Payne in behind, defending for Williamson to do. And she does it very well. Fabulous work from Williamson, and all of a sudden it's Arsenal who are breaking. Wheeler wins it back and concedes the throw. And with every minute that goes by, the tension only ratchets up all the more. And the fact that one goal for either side, there's every chance it will be a winner. Williamson. Patient possession from Arsenal, desperate to pick the lock. Just over 5 minutes plus stoppages. We haven't had too much of a stop-start second half, so I don't imagine there'll be that much time added on when we get there. Valti. Mariona. Catley, is this Arsenal's moment? Catley's cross, headed away by Van Havermaet. Cordina. Lennartson Mornham. The shot was goal-bound. Key block from Van Havermaet. Deflected, scrambling around the edge of the area. Valti, all the way through.
Today's Arsenal Women's Supporters Club player of the match, number 32, Kyra Cooney-Cross.
Brosnan in no rush. Arsenal not particularly happy. Can't exactly blame the visiting keeper for having an eye on looking to occupy the clock. Long throw forward for Bissell to chase up against Williamson. Arsenal get the free kick. And quickly look to break out of this Everton press. Everton certainly carried a real threat on the counter-attack in the first half. I don't think you could quite say as much in the second. Arsenal have been more dominant after the break. Forward. Mead. Bissell wins it back after the misplaced pass. Foul from Bissell on Mariona. Arsenal take the free kick a little too quickly for the referee's liking. And that's because Everton are going to make a change. Izzy Hobson, the youngster who scored last season against Arsenal, became the WSL's youngest ever goal scorer when she was 16 and a half years old, scoring in the 95th minute to get Everton a point when they hosted Arsenal. Comes in for Caroline Olesen. Hobson in scoring that goal, beating Lauren Hemp's record by 78 days when Hemp scored back in 2017 for Bristol City, and Hemp herself was 9 days older than certain Georgia Stanway. And if Hobson goes on to have a career half as good as either of those two, she'll have done pretty well. Both regular Lionesses, of course. Here's Ford. Managed to initially get past Wheeler, but covering in behind was Holmgar. That's been a real feature from Everton today. When one player's got beaten, there's always been someone in behind. Been really tough to get through. Williamson. Appeals for a handball. Certainly wasn't. Although those appeals were more from fans than any players. Leonardson Mornham. What a tackle that is from Wheeler, who looks up and can launch things forward for Payne here. Cordina has to be very careful, and is. Al Dente, Leonardson Mornham, Valti, Catley, Catley's cross, runs for Ford, and off the bar, still in there, Bissell can clear. All hands to the pump for Everton. Ford forward. Comes off the hand of Mead. I'm surprised that wasn't a free kick, but Everton can charge on with Bissell, who's been hunted by three Arsenal defenders, but has managed to win it back. And then might have been pulled back by Cordina. 4 minutes have been added on. It's all happening. Blackstenius. Brosnan briefly was coming out of a goal. Valti. Now Mariona. Mariona's ball in, headed over. Won't quite be the last chance saloon for Arsenal. There's still a few minutes left. Now Fox hit the bar slightly accidentally with a cross in the first half. That was much more deliberate in terms of the sense of it being a goal-bound effort from Ford there. Is there a late twist? Cleared by Hayashi. Referee Pearson almost got in the way. Williamson. Comes the cross. Blackstenius almost got onto it, and Brosnan briefly dropped it. Last chance for Arsenal. Mead. Blackstenius' header couldn't quite get the shape on it right. Brosnan taking her time and taking too much time. Gets a yellow card for her troubles. Now does send it long. Hayashi's header. Mariona. Lennard Mornham. Mornham's cross deflected up but not away. Payne in there fighting to win it, and has won it and is held back. Well, Everton will get a free kick here. Although Everton actually, ironically, quite fancy the chance for Bissell to play on. And are making that point. You can understand it. We're in overtime in stoppage time. All eyes on referee Pearson. Set wide for Ford, who has plenty of options. Ford's cross, Van Havermaet. Hope launches it. After 15 years of losing at Arsenal, Everton do not lose today. A first point away at Arsenal for the Toffees since 2009 in 15 visits across all competitions. The Toffees' first point of the new season in the WSL comes to Arsenal's great frustration at the Emirates. That famous Everton motto, nothing but the best is good enough, nil satis nisi optimum. Well, they were more than living up to that today. The Toffees terrific, Arsenal annoyed. They stay unbeaten, the Gunners, with 7 points from 3. And they travel to Bayern in 3 days' time for Champions League action, but couldn't pick the lock in the second half. Despite having more of the play, Everton get themselves a precious point and a deserved point. It finishes Arsenal 0, Everton 0. Let's take a look back at the best bits. From a game that was goalless, that had plenty of attacking impetus at both ends in the first half, where Everton certainly offered more than a threat. Emily Fox hit the bar there with one that was probably more intended as a cross in truth. Arsenal picked the lock really neatly here with some terrific passing play, but Cooney Cross was off balance and on a less preferred left foot. So much like Fox, couldn't quite grab her first Arsenal goal. Everton caught at the back here. It gave Mariona a shooting chance, but she could only put straight at Brosnan. And then this was Everton's best opportunity of the match, and arguably the best chance, the closest either side came. Viatchiki Sari forcing a very good save from Daphne van Domselaar. And from the resulting corner, Justine van Havermaet's header was cleared off the line by Katie McCabe. That double chance, the nearest Everton came to pinching something. Arsenal repeatedly tested Courtney Brosnan, but you would have to say that a lot of the shots were relatively comfortable saves for the Republic of Ireland international. Mead here made room, and ultimately, just as Mariona was dreaming of her first WSL goal, has scored for Arsenal in Europe already. There was Heather Payne to clear. Lennard Mornham had a chance here that was well stopped by a combination of Brosnan and her defence. Mariona with the jinking run, but off the deflection, Everton got a A little fortunate in how easily it made its way through to Brosnan. Blackstenius couldn't quite get the final nick on it on the way through there. And then Mead's cross here, headed over by Blackstenius. And that was that. Thank you very much for your company here at the Emirates. I've been Michael McCann. It's been great to have you here. Do keep an eye on all of the WSL action going on across the weekend. But for now, it is a rather frustrated Emirates, apart from a small band of Everton fans who've made the trip, and will head back north with a point. The first time they can say that against Arsenal since beating them 3-0 way back in March 2009, thanks to goals from Farrell Williams, Michelle Hinnigan and Jill Scott. No goals to report today, but quite the story at the Emirates as it finishes Arsenal 0, Everton 0.